Today's edition of Austin FC on the Football Manager 21 beta focuses on tactics. For those fans of tactical approaches, you may rejoice. I've gone back in time to the inbox item you receive originally when starting a new save. It's an inbox item that I don't particularly agree with at this stage, especially if you are Austin FC. My personal management style is to adapt my formation, roles and instructions to the players at my disposal. And the simple truth is that Austin, certainly now, don't have any. Be that as it may, we're going to create a tactic and import it into my ongoing beta save. This is the inbox item in question. It's the second one that you receive after the article explaining how you have been hired. It is quite an interesting inbox item here for you. It explains that tactics are made up of three areas: tactical style, formation and player roles. There's a really good graphic explaining those there. I would suggest that you pause, have a quick look, or in fact if you are in the game itself, take the time to just have a read through. We are now going to create a tactic, and automatically there are recommendations. Now these come from based on the club vision and also the staff that you have at your disposal. So for example, tiki-taka features. It's been recommended by Davy Arnoud and it's going to be well suited to the players in the squad, both of which at this point in the save are out on loan. So tiki-taka in the modern game was popularised by Barcelona, and it's all about pressing, short passing, movement, waiting for space to open up as the opponents are dragged from pillar to post. Mentality is positive, and as you can see, it operates a very high defensive line and a very high line of engagement. Fluid on the counter-attack is another suggestion from Davy. That looks to draw the opposition onto yourself and leave them vulnerable at the back for a counter-attack. This contains players running in possession, so sprinting forward and dribbling the ball towards goal. It has a lower defensive line and a lower line of engagement as you basically wait for the opposition to enter your half of the field. The other suggestion is a direct counter attack. So this is, well, we had a fluid counter, this is a more direct. So this is a bit more pacey and a bit faster from back to front. Big higher tempo there in possession. Again, mentality is cautious. Now at this stage, if you are creating a tactic, you can load one that you've used before. So for example, I'm going to create one here, then I'm going to go into our main beta save and I'm going to load it in. But I did want to show you the inbox item from the very start because that's where you first fire up Football Manager 21, even in the beta as it is here. In terms of me, I'm going to go with a direct counter-attack style. Not sure about that. Let me go back. I want actually a fluid counter-attack. So you can, of course, go back and cancel everything you've just done. So we're going to choose our formation, and actually a 4-3-3 is pretty perfect for this sort of setup because it gives you the forward and then two wingers, different roles, supporting a solid triangle in the middle with a defensive midfielder and four at the back. That is pretty much what I'm after. So let's set this up. Our mentality is cautious. That's good. Confirm here. Now we make our changes. So the changes that we're going to make changes to these in possession, in transition and out of possession menus. We're also going to look at some different roles for the players, but I quite like what is set up already, if I'm completely honest. So we'll go through from the very start. Mentality, cautious. I'm leaving that as it is. We're a new club, and I don't think going gung-ho early doors is going to be a big help to us. not at this stage anyway. Later on in the season, we may develop that way. In possession, this is what we have, and in fact, it is pretty perfect. Our approach play, though, I am going to focus play down the two wings. So I am going to ask that when we do counter, we're going to counter with a standard attacking width when in possession. So the idea is to get the ball back and away we go. We're going to use a slightly lower tempo. Now we'll keep it as a slightly higher tempo. I'm okay with that. Run at defence should be there. I also want players to be a little bit more disciplined. Don't want them going too far off piste. In terms of crosses, I always prefer low crosses. That's just my particular preference. In transition, I'm not actually going to change this at all, except for I don't want our goalkeeper to go too far. I think I'm quite happy with him rolling the ball out. So we look to counter press. That is perfectly well explained just here. Players will immediately apply pressure after losing possession in the hope of recovering the ball. I'm okay with that. And of course, it's a fluid counter attack. So when possession has been won, we want them to go immediately on the attack. Goalkeeper, I don't really have a preference in terms of speed of distribution. I prefer him to keep possession, if I'm honest. But I'm going to take that off and not click a preference. Out of possession, we are going to force the opposition outside. That is protecting the low block. If you're a fan of Burnley, you'll know all about that. Lower defensive line, yeah, I think we'll stick with that, especially because we're going to have veterans in our side. A lower line of engagement, so that's when we will start to press. Pressing intensity, when they've passed the line of engagement, yeah, I think we're going to go extremely urgent, and we are going to prevent short goal kick distribution. In terms of tackling, I'm happy for them to leave that to their own devices. I often find that if you click get stuck in, you just end up with red cards all over the place, and that's not something that we really want at the very start. So in terms of roles, these are the different positions that we've got to choose from. So goalkeeper, I'm quite happy for him to stick with this sweeper keeper role on a defend setting. So he'll look to play counter-attacking balls when they're on. In terms of support, if I get this right, in fact, I am going to put him on support. It's a great little bit of, in the description down here, we've got some new graphics that just give you a little bit more information about the type of goalkeeper and type of role that you've selected. I am actually going to put him on a support duty because he's going to look to play counter-attacking passes. Why not? In terms of our defence, I do like the combination of a ball-playing defender and a central defender, but I am going to stick him on cover because I do often get worried that a player, especially in defence, is going to just go out of it a little bit and get beaten too easily, especially when we've got a lower line of engagement. Let's just put him on cover, mopping up behind him, behind the ball-playing defender just beside him. In terms of that ball-playing defender, we'll just see the little graphic for that there. Unlike a standard central defender, the ball-playing defender is encouraged to launch defence-splitting through balls from deep to generate counter-attacking opportunities. In terms of our full-backs, I am normally a fan of a wing-back, usually on support. am I? Or a fullback on support? I'm going to go wing back on defend is what I'm going to do, because I don't want them straying too far up the pitch and leaving gaps in behind. A defensive midfielder, I'm always nervous about putting in a defensive midfielder, if I'm honest. I do prefer an anchorman or a halfback, but in this instance I think keeping it simple with a defensive midfielder is the way to go, breaking up play and then recycling possession from a deep position. I'm happy with that. The combination that they've got in central midfield is actually pretty perfect. So you've got a box-to-box midfielder who gets up and down the pitch alongside the roaming playmaker. I like a playmaker. I'm going to put him on a deep-lying setting. I think in terms of our recruitment, it might be easier to find one of those than a roaming playmaker. That's why I've gone for that one. Now the combination here of wingers and inside forwards is pretty much what I would do. So on one side, it's the Arsene Wenger principle, really. On one side, you've got the inside forward that's going to join in and support the attack on a more central setting, and then you've got the winger who's going to stay out wide. In fact, that is going to inform my decision over here. If the inside forward is coming in, I'm going to have the wing back on a support setting to get up alongside him. Up front, an attacking forward, an advanced forward. I've used a target man for the last couple of football managers, but I think an advanced forward is probably a little bit overpowered. It certainly has been previously. When I've used one a few times, they seem to do quite well, but it hasn't always suited the formation that I've been playing. Ideally, you want a complete forward. That's where the hopes and dreams lie. However, in this instance, you're probably looking at a target man, deep lying forward, that sort of position. Definitely. The problem is, if you select a target man, you've got to pretty much select him on support, because attack doesn't really do it. I'm going to leave it as an advanced forward for now to spearhead attacking moves, only because we've put our winger and an inside forward on support setting. What I tend to do is have, if the wingers are in an attacking setting, the striker is on a support role, and vice versa. You're not going too conservative with having 3 players on a support setting, but you're not going too over the top exuberant with all 3 on a attacking setting. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a tactic. Dead simple. We're going to save this tactic. As our Austin FC Beta 433. Save. And then the idea is that we're just going to quickly move in to our other save. Not going to save this one. Into our Austin Beta and then import it. So I wanted to show you right at the start from what happens there, because one of the things that you can't do before you continue from the first day when you first load up a new save is skip that tactical creation. It wants you to do it straight from the start, or at least go into the menu, I think, which is a bit strange. But instead we are just going to go into the other save, the beta, and as you can see, loading game a little bit quicker this year, although that isn't as quick as it's been. So perhaps things are overwhelming my system at the minute. I've checked that the laptop is still whirring like a helicopter as it is. Oh, that was pretty quick to get up there, wasn't it? Well played. There we are. Our first game is obviously against Nashville, but in terms of our tactics, I don't know what it's done. I did set it as that to start with. Personal preference. Here we go, load tactic, and it's in. That is going to be our system going forward. Certainly will be for that game against Nashville in 22 days. Now, the other thing that was happening that I did want to show you that I haven't really looked at before is the recruitment meeting. I think we'll probably just attend this. So the meeting agenda is looking at the club vision and transfer budget, determine areas to improve. Well, we don't really have areas to improve, we have improvements. Review recommendation and decide on short-term recruitment focus. Attending, we have Andy Loughnane, the chairman, Claudio Reyna, former US international in his own right, Davy Arnaud, our assistant manager, and Manuel Junco, our chief scout, alongside myself, of course. So the club culture is to sign players of under the age of 23 for the first team, and sign young players to develop for profit. That is a long-term 5-year plan goal. We are pleased to announce that the finalised budget for the season ahead, I mean that's not going to happen, is it? The budget for the season ahead should be $78,000 a week. So these are the areas that have been selected as problem positions. Let's get started. We have one advance forward currently, Dominguez, who I think is more of a winger, so it is a position that we need to see. I think we do need somebody for this position, and I would like to set a short-term focus. So availability. Now, potential ability. Do we go up in the 4s? I mean, my recruitment strategy last season with AFC Fylde was players that I'd heard of. Player style. Technical. In terms of an age range, I probably don't want anybody over 32, and it's a high priority. Analysts will look for goals. That's what we want. So we're going to set the focus for an advanced forward. Wing back. Let's move on. I'm not a big fan of a wing. I'll sort that out later on. I've got a plan for this. Central midfield. No, I don't want to have a look at that. We've got players that can play there. No. Central defence. Oh, we've got 2 of those. Right, we're on the way there. And then there are other positions, other targets that may be of interest. So, sorry, this is actually my first time going through one of these meetings, so I am sort of learning on the job, as it were. Christian Fuchs is a free agent at 45k a week. Don't be ridiculous. No, not happening. Right. So, where do we want to look? Given our recruitment, I would suggest it is actually wing back, isn't it? That's annoying. Can I change that? Suited the role of wing backs. Now that I fully think about who we've got midfielders, we've got a couple of wingers, strikers on the list. I've brought in a goalkeeper, 2 central defenders, and a defensive midfielder in Larentowicz. It is actually wing backs, isn't it, that I want. And let's bring in ones that match our recruitment strategy. I'm going to just reduce the instructions just for a second. What does availability typically mean? I have no idea what that means. We're going to try and keep this one a little bit younger. So we're going to say maximum age of, well, if we're saying under 23, let's say 24. Vision priority is high. What will they look for? God, there's so many things that they can look for. Fouls? Don't really want to look for fouls. Expected goals. Possession 1? No, I'm going to give them carte blanche on this one. So I want to do that. And that then ends the meeting. Okay. Bit strange. I expected something like a thank you, see you later. Okay. Other news, I have activated some automatic extension clauses with players' contracts that we had just signed. So following the draft, which took place just a few days ago, I have also issued a load of adverts. So the expansion draft picks, here we go, as you can see, our boys. Now, I was looking for the contract situation. Scouting induction. Chicago posed a trade for our international slots. As I mentioned last time, not really interested in those. Here is the scouting centre. Have they already done some business? Do like the look of him, actually. We'll make an inquiry. Let's make an inquiry. 29 years old, so a bit older than I was looking for, but a lot of interest in him. 37 years old, no. And another fullback. But he'll be after quite a bit of cash. See, more than Albacete. So, we await. That's another scouting meeting. Is that all I do at the minute? A scouting meeting. He's 33. No. You'll see that I don't really tolerate these scouting meetings very well. 32. No. Albacete. Yes, we are keep scouting. You keep scouting him. Andre Lima. The stats don't look too bad, actually. Offer him a trial. Kleber, no. I just said no to him. 30 years old, no. I said no to him. I mean, Jesus wept. Bakary Sanya. Offer him a trial. Hamza, 26-year-old from the Gambia. I mean, anything? Any suggestions? No. Alex Song is currently a free agent. Now, I don't think he's a free agent in real life, is he? He actually signed for a club recently. I think it was in Africa. I say, and I hope that's true. Otherwise, I may have just offended him. "16-year-old centre-back. Offer him a trial as well. Who knows, we might unearth something. Like the look of him as well. Now we're talking, aren't we? Now, Lucas Rodriguez. He made 33 appearances for Boston River last season. Now, a Boston River high school football team? Let's have a quick look, shall we? They are Uruguayan First Division. Lovely set of kits on them, I have to say. But no, not the type of player that I think I'm going to be interested in, despite his assertion that he's going to be one of our better players. I wonder when we get our new wage budget. They've all accepted their trials. Good to see. Let's bring these boys in. There we go. All four coming in on trial. Allow myself and the team what it is to evaluate and just figure out whether they play. We want a club. He's an exciting young prospect. They've all got a 1 week trial. Is that just a 1 week trial? Yeah, they've all got quite decent stats. I mean, apart from the young prospect, we could improve. And we've already got a question from Matt Smith. Is he real? No. What's the chance of him earning a contract with you? I'm just going to decline that. I have chosen not to speak to him Don't want to get involved in that. Hopefully over the next week he can impress in training. One of the things that he will be doing in training is, when we actually return, is set pieces. Should he survive that long? We have an induction to the squad. Shall we take it? And that'll end today's episode. Thank you. Team selection. Yeah. I mean, this is just telling me about the squad screen. I know what's going on the squad screen. Thank you for this. That covers the basics. Brilliant. Right, well that was useful. If you are a new player to Football Manager, then that's probably going to help you. But I'm not sure it did for me. Be that as it may, we move on. Next episode is going to be tomorrow, and it's going to be set pieces. So we've done a bit of tactics today. The next thing we're going to do is pair it up with some corner routines. I'll see you tomorrow.